what do we have here but the iPad is ready for the I Ching, and the coffee is ready for the tarot. So it's tarot and coffee today. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to initially talk about a little thing I read about Zen last night. It's a piece in a book written by Daisetsu Suzuki called Zen and Japanese Culture. And he was talking about a disciple. You know, they have these stories about disciples and Zen Buddhist monks. It's a tradition. And so this swordsman disciple comes to a master swordsman and wants to be disciplined in the art of swords. And so he talks to a disciple who's actually retired and says, I want to learn from you. So the disciple gets taken in, and the master says, okay, well, you're going to have to start by gathering wood for the fire and going to get water from the spring, and you have to chop the wood and make the fires, and you have to cook the rice, you have to sweep the house and do all the chores in the garden, and you have to generally look after the household. So no regular teaching on the sword fighting began. And some time goes by and the young man gets sort of dissatisfied, and he didn't want to be a servant to this old guy. So he comes and he says, listen, can you just teach me, you know, what I came here for? And the master says, okay. And so what happens then is this young man is still doing his chores and cooking and everything, but he can no longer feel safe doing it because he's cooking rice, and the master would suddenly appear behind him and hit him with a stick, you know, and he'd be in the middle of sweeping and he'd be feeling the same sort of blow from somewhere, some unknown direction coming at him, you know. And so he didn't get any peace of mind, and he had to always be on alert. And so some years go by before he can even succeed in dodging these attacks from the master jumping up behind him. And the master's not totally happy with his development yet. And so one day, you know, the master is cooking, and he's cooking his vegetables by an open fire. And the pupil takes it into his head to seize this opportunity. So he takes a big stick and he comes right up behind the master, and he winds up with the stick, and the master's concentrated on cooking. And the young man swings the stick down to hit the master by surprise, but the master lifts the pot lid from his fire and blocks the blow behind his head. And this is the story. And what it goes on to say is, at this moment, the secrets of the sword art began to open up to the young man, and he realized what a great master he has. And the secret of perfect swordsmanship consists in creating a certain frame or structure of mentality which is made always ready to respond instantly, that is, immediately, to what comes from the outside. While technical training is of great importance, it is, after all, something artificially, consciously, calculatingly added and acquired. Unless the mind that avails itself of the technical skill somehow attunes itself to a state of the utmost fluidity or mobility, anything acquired or superimposed lacks spontaneity of natural growth. So he was teaching that the chores, the everyday actions, are not at all separate from the sword fighting skill. They're actually the foundation of it, and one has to be able to react instinctively and quickly, even when doing something as simple as cooking your dinner over a fire. And that's the idea conveyed by the master using the pot lid to deflect the blow. Not a sword, just a simple pot lid. And I like that because it's one of those stories that sort of, it doesn't have a zinger, and it fits in with my approach with the idea, the concept of streaming. Like, why stream anything about meditation or even tarot, really? And contrasting the idea of the technique of streaming with what you see typically in, say, a YouTube video, where they're much more concise and they try to hit you in the first 30 seconds to keep you there, which is totally understandable because you want to keep people stuck to the video so that you can make the money for it, of course, if that's what you're doing. But what happens is you get people trying to present ideas rapid. I need some of the coffee. You get people trying to present the ideas rapidly. And they even get kind of this weird machine-like voice where they're like talking. I mean, did you know that the one thing that you can count on in order to make money selling computer parts is if you listen to me and get through to the end of the video? Now, I'm going to keep telling you all of these things without any pause in between any of my sentences because I don't want your mind to get distracted and wander off to go get a snack in the kitchen or to go to the bathroom while I'm talking, because I want you sitting here so that the YouTube algorithm can keep you here and knows you're here, and it can elevate my video so that I make more advertising money. And that's why I'm running my mouth so quickly like a machine, like an AI. Yet you see me talking. I'm a person right here, and I'm going on and on and on as rapidly as I possibly can without any normal human space for breathing in between any of my ideas. And this is the end, and thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe. That's how people condition themselves to talk when they're doing those things now. And there's a reason for it. It's not very pleasant to listen to. But they do it because they're forced to keep people who have millions of options, to keep them there, hanging on their every word. What's the final answer going to be? Oh, that'll be at the end of the video. But with streaming, you have a different thing going on where you're more sort of dropped into an environment and you're engaged in something that's open-ended. You don't know how long it's going to last or where it's really going to go. And in a sense, that's actually better for the whole meditative mindset, because if you start thinking about Zen and its refusal to accept that it can be described really in language, in words, that it's something that has to be experienced in the moment, and that it has to do with, the reality of every present moment. However, people do talk about Zen. They write books about Zen. I was just reading from one. And you can talk about this idea of not talking about. And it gets very Zen-like, because it becomes this kind of riddle. Like, how do you talk about something that can't be described in words? But people do. And the reason they do is because the talk itself, the space for the talk, conditions something in the person, or in the mind. It sets something up. It allows something to start happening. It's sort of like, I think many therapists have this idea I don't know. I'm going on past experience and things that I've read. But this general notion that by sitting and beginning to allow the mouth to run, the words to come out with a listener, things start to loosen up underneath, under the surface, and sort of bubble up and percolate. And it allows various pressures to come out and release. And this being a very important concept, why talk and words are actually very important, even in the realm of Zen, because words are things, and words are actions. Words are things you're doing in the moment, in reality. Even when you're reading words, you're performing an action, obviously. Something's happening in the present moment. And I've always found the sort of dwelling in ideas about things like Zen and tarot, of course, to be very enriching, and sort of you get into a kind of a different perception state of mind where you're much more willing. If you talk about Zen, you're also that much more willing to go and wander quietly through a Zen garden or something like that, or appreciate a stream. So the talk is not, it's not anti-Zen. There's nothing really anti-Zen or anti-meditation. It's all usable. And so here we are with the idea of streaming and talking about meditation, Zen, whatever you want. But the idea is, or the feel is, to have kind of it's a place where you can let things be fuzzy and percolate very slowly, and you just build a general feel for the subject that you're interested in. In this case, this odd combination, not really odd, but it's a combination of tarot and meditative practices, and what that is, how that works. Let me get another sip of my coffee. It looks like the camera's holding up for the moment. For some reason, it seems to be surviving. This tarot camera here, this whole thing the camera's up above here, it seems to be getting glitchy if I switch to other things. So I'm not sure why that is. If I just sit here on this particular view of the table with the tarot deck, it should work. So the coffee I do, coffee and tarot, I mean, what could be better? In the morning, you get up, you might want to do a day's reading. But today, I'm going to go along with my sort of little Zen talk, I'm going to do an I Ching reading right here. And I'm going to draw it with the lines there like that. So I have 3 coins here, and they're ready. So what'll happen is it'll be an I Ching reading for this space, this time today where we are, and beginning the sort of sitting down to enjoy this kind of thinking. And let's see what the general suggestion of the I Ching is. Often the I Ching is kind of it has very sound, calm advice for troubled situations that people find themselves in. And so they will go to the I Ching and ask, how should I react to this kind of, I feel I'm being treated poorly at work or something like that. And the I Ching will have most often very stabilizing, calming advice. It doesn't usually like to talk about very fast, rapid sudden actions. The I Ching is usually more about fitting into the flow of things as they are and seeing how things go before doing any decision making. And that's a very wise approach, really, to things. And that approach can be taken into the more Western ideas behind the tarot over here. The tarot has a lot of room in it for very sudden action. And it has the knights. It has some very sort of violent activity in it. You've got the tower being blown apart, that kind of thing. So it's got that fun in it. The I Ching tends to be a little bit more reserved, a little bit more about fitting into the general scheme and the social world around you. That's what I've always thought about the I Ching. It's a little bit more community minded than tarot tends to start digging in deep inside the individual. It, of course, does have community in it, but for the main element is what I'm talking about. The I Ching seems to me to be a little bit more socially oriented. And so let me do the first throwdown of these things. And they don't have to be thrown in any particular way. So we've got two with the snakes or serpents face up, and one with the symbols face up. So the snake ones are 3 points each. The symbol one is 2 points. So that's 3 and 3 is 6, 7, 8. And 8 leads us to an open yin line, which has the little space in the middle at the bottom of our hexagram. That's the first of our 6 lines. Now we'll roll for the second, but first, another sip of this wonderful coffee. And then I will roll them up again. And here, here we get the 3 2s, giving us a 6, which means it's an open line, but it's moving. So it has that X in the middle. Now we'll do the third line. And we get 2 serpents and a symbol. So that's 6, 7, 8 again. And that's our open yin. So there we have the first trigram. And that trigram is you regard that for the first part of the reading, you ignore the X. So that's just an open. So that's 3 open lines. And that's the earth trigram. Now we'll continue on to the upper trigram. And we'll do this. And we get 6, 7, 8. Again, so 8 gives us that open. We'll do another one. This one gives us, again, the 8, because that's 3 and 3 is 6 and 2, 7, 8. Now for our last topper, our top line, we get another 8. So we've now got up here the same, we've got all open lines. So we've got earth on top of earth, but we have that moving line in the middle of the bottom trigram. So let's go to the handy chart. I use my little chart right here, and I can see how they meet. So we've got the open here meeting with the open over here, and that's hexagram number 2, according to our chart there. Hexagram number 2. So let's go in and have a look and see what our handy I Ching is telling us. Number 2. I'm looking it up right now in the I Ching book. Okay. This is called responding. This is the second hexagram in the I Ching. It's earth on top of earth. And let me read the sort of poetic description of what it is. Responding. Sublimely prosperous and smooth. Favorable with a mare's steadfastness. Superior person has somewhere to go. Predetermining loses. Following obtains a master. Favorable in the southwest gets friends. In the northeast, lose friends. Be composed and content. Being steadfast and upright, good fortune. Now there's a commentary added to that, and it goes like this. Perfect is responding's greatness. It brings birth to all beings and accepts the source from heaven. Responding in its richness sustains all beings. Its virtue is in harmony without limit. Its capacity is wide. Its brightness is great. Through it all, beings attain their full development. A mare is a creature of earthly kind. Its moving on earth is boundless, yielding and submissive, advantageous and steadfast. The superior person comprehends her way of life. Taking the lead brings confusion. She loses the way. Following and responsive, she finds the normal course. Find friends in the southwest, proceed with people of the same kind. Lose friends in the northeast. In the end, congratulations will arrive. Good fortune comes from resting in steadfastness. It corresponds with the boundless capacity of earth. Earth's nature is submissive. In corresponding with this, the superior person enriches her virtue to sustain all beings. Now we have a moving line, the X, in here. And what that means, in the second position there, that second line, it's called 6 in the second line, right there. That was the product of a 6 from the coins. And what it says is, second 6, straight, square, and great. That's how it is. Nothing is unfavorable. The movement of the second 6 is straight because of its uprightness. It is spontaneous, operating without effort. Nothing is unfavorable. The light of earth is carrying forward. So it's very advantageous, actually. And what happens with that moving 6 is it's trying to transform itself into a solid line. And if it does, it gives us the water trigram, which means you'd have earth on top of water in another few moments of development when this line finishes its change. So earth on water, and that energy of water sort of flowing underneath the earth can be very advantageous. It's almost sort of like the idea of hidden resources, hidden energies at one's disposal. unseen by others, perhaps, but available for use. You can look at it that way. So this I Ching reading is telling us to not be too forward, not be aggression is not warranted, but knowing the place to be and following the situation and observing and fitting in and doing your job well, this is what will be advantageous right now. And I did this reading for this session. And so the suggestion to me is, don't push. Don't worry about doing anything totally unique. Don't try and be big and fancy. Just proceed with a nice, comfortable, steady kind of stream and talking about these things. Enjoy it for what it is. Don't try and make it be everything to everyone. Don't worry about it. The little things, the little joys of discussing the I Ching and tarot and the coffee will be plenty and will, in fact, bring their own reward. So that's what I'm getting from that. Let's see if there's anything more we can explore in that reading. Let's see. You know, it's kind of the name of the hexagram itself, of earth on earth, meaning responding. What it's saying is, at this moment, aggressive leadership and originality are not required. Responding is required. Responding means you have to be receptive, like Earth. Earth is typically considered receptive. And if you're receptive, you then take it in, you absorb, and you have a natural reaction. And your reaction influences your responding. And so the responding is conditioned and comes out and is appropriate to the situation or to the event. And that's what this reading is talking about. Let's talk again about that moving line. Let's keep going, because the moving line, there's more to it here. This one where it's transforming earth on earth to earth on water. And let's talk about that. What happens is the second line begins as a yin element. It's very central and correct. The ancient Chinese believed that heaven is round while earth is square. The text suggests that earth symbolizes a sage's virtue. Straightforward, square, and great are the features of the earth. In Chinese, square, when it is applied to morality, carries the connotation of upright. When one follows the way of heaven, as earth does, one is great. Thus, a superior person should possess the virtues of straightness, uprightness, and submissiveness, like earth responding to heaven. Then one is able to carry out the will of heaven spontaneously without effort. This line indicates that the Duke of Zhou assisted his brother King Wu in planning an expedition against the tyrant of the Shang dynasty. The Duke of Zhou advised King Wu to cultivate the virtue of earth. Being straight and square, one would be great. Then the expedition could be conducted with no effort, and nothing would remain unfavorable. So, you know, aggression not required. Being receptive and being somewhat submissive to to the circumstance. Now we go on here, and Confucius chimes in on these words. Confucius says, Kun, that's this hexagram responding, Kun is most soft, yet in action it is firm. It is most still, yet in nature square. Through following, she obtains her lord, yet still maintains her nature and thus endures. She contains all beings and is brilliant in transforming. This is the way of Kun, responding. How docile it is, bearing heaven and moving with time. Hey, Nine Dawns, I see. All right. We have actually finished our I Ching reading, and that's good because now we can come in here and get the tarot moving, and we can do a reading with that nice set of cards there. And let me put you here, Nine Dawns, and we're going to say bingo. You are, yes, you are up next. You are right there where you need to be to ask a question. You can ask a question and you can be very, very general. I would say remember that the tarot will not predict outcomes. It'll give you what we call avenues for thought on your question and how to sort of think it through and get through it and that kind of thing. Kind of the nature of what's going on and how to kind of how to approach it, how to attack it, so to speak. And let me keep going with a little more shuffling. And so go ahead and you can type your question in. And this shuffle is for your question. Oh, there you are. Okay, cool. I kind of want to know what I should do with my living situation. I know I need to move. I just don't know what step. Move to a different city, stay. Yep, these are very, very common questions that come up. I mean, I've had so many times when I've been wondering exactly the same things. So let's see. It's like one of those things, like, you know, you're when you want to know where to move your living situation, it's almost like it's a form of choosing a path. You know, where is my path going to lead me? Is getting on the right path for me? Will it be helped by being in a new physical location, or is that unnecessary? Can I find my path, and will life improve for me? Will I have more of what I want if I stay right here? Is it, and both are totally valid, because sometimes people actually do need a change of physical location in order to clear their mind. It's sort of like meditation. So you know, sometimes when you move, because your energy gets directed toward doing that, toward adopting a new place or adapting to it, it takes so much of your energy that it actually frees your mind from certain other things that might have been holding it back, or it might have been like you might have been dwelling on the things and not able to get out of the cycle. And then when you move, even if you stay in the same city, just the very act of moving and all of that work can kind of dislodge your mind a little bit from what it's stuck on, and you can actually really can get more sort of in touch with your real feelings. So some people will say, oh yeah, if you moving it, you're just running away. It's just, it's not going to change anything. That's not true at all. Moving is very important, because you can go back. Some of our great writers in history, that write some of our great novels. Place is very important to many of those novelists and characters, and they're always talking about how place has an effect on a person and on their thinking. It's really an interesting thing. And so the tarot can really have something to say about it. So let's get some 3 cards out, and I'm going to pull them out as if right here where they sort of naturally seem to want to fall from. Okay, so now we're going to lay them here in a way that has sort of a primary idea going on, slightly elevated. And let's get that. Okay, now right away, what comes out here as our food for thought? 6 of sticks. Some decks call them wands. I, for some reason, like sticks because I like to be a little bit more humble sounding or something. I don't know what it is. So the 6 of sticks in a deck of this kind, which mirrors the Tarot de Marseille system, which is very symbol and number oriented in the minor cards. And we have here the first thing to think about in this moving scenario of yours. 6 is a number of harmony. It's a number of harmony, communication, joy, sharing, being together, community. Community is a big element of the 6. Now it's the 6 of sticks or wands, which is creative passion, the will to be something, to do something, to make something, to change something. It's that instinct and drive that you have to produce, to be creative, to be excited about life and what you want to do and be, who you are, and how you want to change those things and go after something new. That's the realm of the sticks. The sticks can burn. That's why there's fire in that suit of sticks in the tarot. Fire is the element, because that's the creative burning passion for something. So if you want to move and you want to do it locally, or you want to move somewhere new, you have this foundation of this real passion to get somewhere and do something for yourself that's going to be burning underneath all of the decision making here. And the 6 gives it this really nice, safe structure of community. What it suggests is share, share, share. Talk with your people, keep everything open with family, with your relationship, with your friends. Seek a place where there is community, where you have connection. The 6 is about connection and sharing. It's that realization of joy and success and sharing the wealth and being open to other people that comes after solving the crisis of the 5, where you have something new you have to adapt to, you have to learn. And when you do, you arrive at 6 and you're like, we've achieved something here. All of us, let's talk about it. Let's share it. Let's share this wealth. It doesn't have to be money we're talking about. It can be much more of an abstract. We're sharing the wealth of success. We're enjoying ourselves. So that is there right at the top of this reading. And then over here, isn't that funny? We just talked about the 5. I just said after the 5, you reach the 6. Okay, of this sharing harmony between people and between elements of your own life where things start to connect, and you're like seeing how to share your skills at work with what you do at home, and that's the 6. Well, the 5 is over here on the left, and it's basically talking about something that you can perhaps not worry about anymore, and you can start letting go of it. And it means that the swords, there's been some difficulty with your ideas, with belief, with conflict and argument. Or it could all be internal. It doesn't mean you've been in conflict with a person. It could mean that. But that conflict of the 5, it's always representing a new element. See the little sword that pops in the middle? You've got these four swords that used to be stable and secure. And this one new element pops in and the swords start kind of tipping over. Well, that's because that new idea, that new problem, something has come up. And it's made things a little unsure, but it also presents the opportunity for this big new development going into the 6's harmony and success. And so you can kind of stop worrying now about the uncomfortable process that maybe you've been going through. Maybe there's been a lot to learn about something. Maybe there's been a lot to adapt to, new ideas and new things you might have had to do in work or school or something, and it's been difficult, but now you can let that sort of kind of go, okay, I'm through that. I don't have to let that bother my mind all the time anymore, because I'm now talking about the 6, which is much more joyful and sharing. And now let's go over here. We've got Lovers over here. Now the Lovers card is a major card and it's reversed. We don't even have to worry about that at all, because all it does is it changes the message a bit. But the Lovers card is about that quality you have of when you're in love, and this isn't just with people. This is when you're in love with anything. You're in love with your own self, or what you want to be, or you're in love with your work. It's the process of loving something. And you can see there's a feather quill pen sort of floating around. There's a vine leading up to the balcony, like Romeo and Juliet, climbing up to the balcony. But the idea underlying it is that in the realm of love, there is a form of communication that arises that is new to a person. They become super inspired. When you're in love, you can almost become like an incredible poet all of a sudden. You can write poems in a notebook that you never were able to before. That's what the Lover's card is. It also has decision-making connotations. Do you climb up the vine? Do you seek what you love? Do you pursue it? Do you flee it? Are you scared of it? Do you run away? That's decision. Now, when it's reversed, what it's saying is, pay more attention to that. Pay more attention to how you interact and communicate and how open you are with the people you love, the ideas you love, the parts of yourself you love, the things that you want and that you want to be, the things you want to achieve, those are included in the lover card. The lover card is never just about being in love with someone that you went on a few dates with and whether or not you're going to be with them. That's missing the real meaning of the lover card. That's why in my deck here I focused on what ideas spring from your mind that you put down on paper with your quill pen like in the old days. What happens when you start talking and you're in a state of love? What comes out then? And so it's saying, look, you have this in you. You have this love. It's all at work in you. Otherwise, this card wouldn't be here. The reversal is saying, listen to it and use what you love in your communications with people. And you see how that connects to the 6 so directly? Because the 6 is all about harmonious communication in a time of joy and success, creatively, with what you want to do and be and what you want to create. It's all here in this card. And it is going to flavor everything that happens here in your ability to communicate and make decisions based on following your heart. And don't be afraid of it. That's what the card reversed is saying. No longer do you need to be afraid of it, because the confusions over here of the 5 are leaving. That's why they're over on the left. They're leaving. You can free your mind of the confusion and the doubt, and you can now step forward into this harmonious sort of joyful sharing idea, and you can express yourself and be and talk like who you want to be. I hope that helps somewhat, 9 Dawns. I actually really, the lover card over here, it used to confuse me a bit. And that's because so many decks have that couple talking to a third person. And so it makes your brain go, oh, it's a couple and there's like this third person, like a parent or something. And it gets you like locked in on that, when in fact, it's more subtle than that, I believe. It's much more about the process of how you change and how you express yourself in the realm of who and what you love. Cougar Chair, you are up next. You are queued up and ready to go, and all you have to do is type your question, and I will proceed to read. And I'm going to take a sip of this coffee. This is my tarot coffee. Hi, Cougar Chair. General, let me gather up the magical cards. This is the Lucky Fortune Tarot deck. I like slightly, I like slightly goofy names for things. Sometimes I think tarot can get a little bit, trying to be a little too mystical sometimes. You're very welcome, 9 Dawns. I hope so too. It's one of those things where, when you have little moments of doubt or you're wondering, you just sort of check back in with your reading. It's like, oh yeah. And if only one simple little thing stays in your mind, like harmony, communication, community, little simple ideas, just those are enough to sort of influence your decisions. You keep that sort of positive little idea in your head. Now, Kuga chair, I have to do this 3 or 4 more times. Basically, the shuffling, you do it until you sort of feel like the cards are somehow wanting to sort of start jumping out. That's kind of what you do. And you start to mess around with the little pile like this, and you start to notice how the cards are behaving, and then you like right here, like this. Here we go. They kind of had a little hitch right there in that zone, and so that's why I pulled them from that little area. And so here we are. We have sort of our primary element is going to be right up here, Kuga chair. So let's turn that over and have a look. Sticks. Now, what you've got here, this is the page of sticks. And the page, basically, the idea is the page does a lot of, helpful things. And the page is in the process of learning, like they're an apprentice, And the water, sort of little water, what do you call those? Water, not water bottle. I can't even remember. Flask, little water flask there is sort of symbolic of absorbing, taking in new knowledge in a young page, but also in carrying the water for the group. If they go out on their horses, and the page is kind of being the helpful one, because the page is the apprentice, is learning, and that's their job in the beginning of life. And so there's that water bottle for the page of sticks, and the sticks again is the creative symbol. It's reversed. Now, what that is showing is saying, okay, pages, the page of sticks or wands wants to be fully engaged and learn all of this new stuff going on. And we're talking about the realm of creative passion, of striving to be something, striving to create something. And this wand here is reversed. So it means the page is maybe a little doubtful about their ability to get it, right? Am I gonna be able to be this person I have in my head? If I'm gonna be an artist, can I draw? Really? Who am I fooling? That's why it's reversed. The page is wondering, how am I going to do this? How am I going to ever get to not be a page anymore? How am I going to get to be a knight or a king or something? It's going to take forever. How do I get through this, long slog of a job? And it's like, is this even gonna get me where I want to go? And that could be something that, hi knees duds, how are you? That could be something that, yes, you can do the Q thing. There's a Q instruction in here. Just hit the Q with the join command. I see you. And so it just wants you to be aware that there might be some hesitation there, Kuga chair. That might be something to think about. And let's see what the hints are around that idea. 2 of coins pops up. This is on the left. This is something that you can kind of start to ease up about, not so worry so much about. 2 of coins, and coins are physicality. They're practical. They're stuff. They're things. They're work. They're money and all the stuff you need to get ahead and to be solid and stable. How are you going to buy your clothes? How are you going to buy your groceries? How are you going to pay your rent? That's all in this coins. And the 2 is this coming together and getting ready to do something new, to take stuff on, to do your work. It's kind of almost a planning stage. It's like it could also mean that you're literally moving in with someone. You're literally starting a relationship with someone. The 2 is always the sign of couple, So something's coming together. It's time for something to join. You're joining forces. You're starting a new thing. And what it's saying is, okay, that preparation, that coming together of getting your material resources set up, that's not so much of a worry that you need to be kind of dwelling on now in order to resolve this hesitation with your status as a new person learning something in a slightly unfamiliar world, and maybe losing a little bit of your enthusiasm because of current situations here. This now, start to let go of material worry. Maybe the time for material planning, for worrying about money and think maybe it's time to ease up on those concerns and look over here at this. King of Cups reversed. King of Cups, Knight of Cups. That's why the shield is there. Kings don't have the shields. They don't need them because the knights are carrying the shields. the shield with the cup on it. And so, I mean, look, everybody knows what knights do. They fight. They guard the king. They guard the palace. They get on their horses and they go out and they do battle and they take action. The Knight of Cups is about the heart. It's about feeling. It can be about love and romance, but it's about any emotional reaction to something. It can be, in this case, about following your heart. Taking the actions bravely as a knight would to follow their heart in what they do or how they engage in their relationships. And when it's reversed, it's saying, hey, being cautious and being very conservative has its definite use and its place. Like here, the 2 is very preparation oriented, okay? Getting your material self together, getting your finances, getting your health, getting your physical situation, your home perhaps, your job, getting that set up and stable is the 2. And if that's happening or getting done, then this reverse knight over here is saying, okay, maybe now it's time to follow your heart and do that thing that you want to do. Because by doing it and turning this over so that you take that action will then have the effect over here of turning this over and taking you into the realm of enjoying yourself as you learn these new things that you need. Don't be afraid of being the new person. Don't be afraid of being inexperienced, because that's what this card is all about. Take those creative steps. You make that thing you want to make. Accept the project at work that you're nervous about, that you don't think you have all the skills for, because you're looking here and going, I have a lot more resources than I need to worry about. I've got it. I can turn this guy over here and make him active and follow my heart, because I know what I love to do. I know how to approach all of this stuff, and I can make myself really enjoy this entire process and it's going to present me with a whole new bunch of learning that's going to carry me really far forward, because that's what pages do. Demotivated. There you go. If you've been demotivated, that's what this is. Because the page is highly motivated even when they don't know what they're doing. That's what the page is all about. And if they're upside down, that just means, okay, you've been a little demotivated for a while. But if you make this knight follow his heart or her heart, you're going to turn this right back up exactly where it needs to go, because it's all there. It's all there. Upside down cards never mean something's not there. They mean it's there. You just need to do the little thing to get the ball rolling. Niduts, you are up right here. I hope that helps a bit. Cougar chair. I hope that is useful. These little things we do, it happens to me all the time. I can get very demotivated for hardly any reason at all. And so it's so common. It happens to everybody. You get demotivated. You start to feel like, what am I doing? I'm just going to go and watch TV and what the heck, it's the modern world. It happens to all of us. All right, need a dealer's choice. I'm surprised. Okay. All right, let's do a reading. Let's see. Let's do a reading about... a general will surprise. But we can say... Let's see. Okay. Let me do this little thing I do, where we'll see what... Okay, there we go. That was the little hitch we were looking for. Now, oh, goodness. Okay. You have been presented here with a very full heart, basically, is what that is. A very full heart. This is the Ace of Cups. This is basically what it's saying. Dealer's choice. Basically, it's the card's choice right now, because what it's saying is, okay, what we're doing here now is we're going to talk about the heart. We're going to talk about how you're feeling. There's a lot of energy and focus that can be put on feelings coming up very soon here. The cup in the ace is essentially the limitless possibility, the full heart, ready to get what it wants, ready to go in a direction that's perhaps a little uncertain right now, but it's a full heart. It's ready to do something. It wants to seek something. It wants something big and new and fulfilling to happen. Something is arising in the heart, in your feelings. And it simply says, let's focus on that. Let's think about that. Put our energy there. And what may have been going on up till now is a lot of stability. The Four of Sticks or Wands comes in on the left, and it's something where we can say, okay, we don't have to worry so much now about this. The Four is foundation. It's solid, being at home and being safe and secure, and your doubts are very minimal, but it can also get to be a little safe, a little too safe. And we're talking about the sticks here, so that is creative energy. That's, your passion, okay? And the Ace of Cups is perhaps here as kind of it's like a harbinger. It's like a a notification popping up saying, okay, the time for safety and being careful in your creative energies, that time is done. We are now ready for something new. And following your heart, paying attention to what it is you truly love or really feel underneath about a situation. It's time to do that and break out of being safe in the things that you're trying to do. And let's think about what's coming next. And what's coming next is the big, major Temperance card. And Temperance shows us here a charming little fountain, okay? A nice fountain in a garden, right? And it's kind of all about balance and flow and easy sort of things easily move. That's what this fountain does. It's the water flows up, it comes out, it tinkles down through, and you can listen to it. Many gardens have a fountain because it's a very meditative sort of sound. But what this indicates overall is peace, comfort with your decisions. It's the reward, and it's a major card. Major cards are deep, sort of very long-lasting influences. And so what this is saying is, by following your heart, not being afraid of the incredible energy in your heart, what's going on now, letting it take you away from safety in what it is you do and your projects, and being a little bit more open to taking chances with it and doing new things, that will lead you to a real, what they call, flow state, a real sense of, oh my gosh, I found it. I've hit the balance. Temperance is very much about a balance in things, achieving that sense of belonging and being at ease with what you are, who you are, and what you've chosen. And that's coming for you in the Temperance card, which is a big, major tarot card. And we have Painted Siren up next, and I see Scorpio Darkness. I see you're there after that. Painted Siren. And I hope that helps. Niesdutz, just coming out of the blue, a reading out of thin air like that, if it has any application for you. Temperance is coming, Niesdutz, when you know in yourself that you've given yourself the permission to allow new things to come in, and you follow that energy in your heart. You follow what it is you truly want, and you open yourself to it. Doesn't mean you have to get it right away. Sometimes people pick the wrong thing. Oh, actually, no, that wasn't what my heart was telling me to do. It's actually this. That's fine. It's just saying that once you allow yourselves to start opening to those things, then temperance naturally follows. Temperance will a balance in your life, a comfort with your own self will follow very shortly after allowing yourself to follow your heart. It doesn't say temperance will only happen if you get following your heart exactly right, because nobody does. It's just the act of trying to follow your heart that leads to temperance. You'll see. And so, okay, Painted Siren, a deity reading, general, if please appreciate. A deity reading. Well, I mean, if you're deity is very very close to God. Thank you, Nies does. It's let's see. So basically, what you're saying is sort of a, like, what would God say? Like, say, what would God sort of hint at? And one can look at the tarot as being kind of a, if you want to look at it with sort of a religious, viewpoint, it's totally valid, because the energy of the tarot, the kind of what it is, where it's coming from, and what it's talking to in a person is very spiritual. And so what happens is any tarot reading will give you that kind of a spiritual quality to it, and it can be viewed in that light easily. So Painted Siren, let's look and see. Okay, we have the Two of Sticks. Here we have another coupling, another gathering of energy. And it's creative fire energy. It's your will, it's your passion, it's your striving to be, striving to make who you want to be, make something, achieve something. It's all there. They're like matchsticks, these things, these wand sticks. They ignite like that and burst into flame of creative energy. And so you're gathering that here. It's time. This is the message. This is more of a spiritual message for you that's talking about spiritual life and your instinct, your drive to be in that spiritual world and to think that way. And this is confirming that gathering of that kind of energy in you is a healthy thing to be thinking about right now, and can lead to great creative energy. Actually, whether that creative energy is artistic or religious or spiritual or whatever it is, it's there for you. And then here we have the Five of Swords coming again. This is the second time today it's shown up. But that five, it's in the mind. It can also have to do with belief. The ideas you have about spirituality, about a deity, about God, about religion, the ideas can get unsettled sometimes and uncertain. You can read things, or suddenly something occurs to you and it throws you off. That's what the five is. It's that little thing that creeps into what used to be sure of, and now you're like, wait, I don't know anymore. Now I'm all confused. That's what the Five of Swords is about. I'm all confused, but wait a minute, there's also something interesting about this problem. These worries I'm having, these problems with my own belief, there's an opportunity here in the five. It's not all about being discombobulated and, destabilized. This can be a healthy destabilization. So let's see where that kind of points me. Queen of Cups reversed. Okay, so the Queen of Cups here. Queen of Cups is a court card, and it's about the heart again. And what it's talking about is the Queen of Cups really knows her heart. She knows her feelings. She knows how to follow her heart. She's in command of that. She's not afraid of it. She has incredible amounts of ability to nurture the heart. She can in herself and people around her, and so she's able to create all this communication and sharing of feelings that leads to growth. And when it's reversed, it's saying, okay, you haven't quite found that yet, and that's something to look for, because that's why the card is here. It's saying look for it, but it's a slow process. Don't worry so much about it like you worry over here in your mind. The mental worries, the worries about belief and ideas that may be in conflict, will resolve themselves and will allow you to use this incredible creative energy that's building up and is the main centerpiece of you right now. It's building up, and you'll be able to use that creative drive that's in you to make this heart of yours, these feelings of yours, become more understandable, so that you develop the understanding of your emotions and your ability to handle them that the Queen of Cups has. The Queen is over here waiting for you, saying you're not ready yet, but if you follow the guides of your spiritual direction toward your creative energies, you will resolve mental confusion, and you will arrive here at what has been difficult up till now, but you will become master of your own heart, and you'll be able to handle your feelings so much better. That's what's going on there, Painted Siren. And Scorpio Darkness, I see you right there. You are now the next one up. That's good, Painted. Excellent. Hi, Scorpio. Scorpio Darkness. There's an old film, crazy experimental film called Scorpio Rising, many, 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 many years ago. So Scorpio, all you have to do is type your question, and I will get these cards ready to bounce right out of the deck for us. And they'll, may we see what comes through with General Reed? Yes. Oh, Scorpio Rising, it's a short one. It's one of those weird experimental films from way back in I think it was made in the late 50s by an American experimental filmmaker named Kenneth Anger. And it's like a short 15-minute thing. It's one of those famous things they show like in museums and stuff. When they talk about like experimental things. And was it? It's kind of hard to say what it's about. You just have to look it up. It's like weird imagery stuff. I think there are motorcycles in it. Something. But here we go. Here's our card popping out. Oh, let's get that guy. Oh, here. No, and let's get here from where we at. There we go. All right, Scorpio. Let's see what's rising here. 4 of Sticks reversed. All right. Creative. Passion. The 4 is pretty safe. The 4 is stable. 4 is solid, but it's upside down. So what that means is not necessarily the opposite of solid. It means that perhaps it's become a little too solid. Perhaps it's just things creatively in what you're doing, what you're making, what you're building, what you enjoy pursuing, something you've been want to strive for. Maybe you've just been a little too safe, a little too protecting yourself. You know what people do in the realm of creativity? They often are afraid of failure. And so they stick with the 4. They stick with what they know and what's safe and easier for them to do. And that's what it's saying here, is saying, okay, no, you don't have to necessarily do that. You don't have to be so safe. Let's think about this 4 here and the difference between being on solid foundation and being overly protective. It definitely, any 4 card, Scorpio, can be a marriage card, very much so, because of its connection to home. The 4 representing like the 4 solid posts of the foundation of a house, let's say. And so that 4 is stability, which one is seeking in every marriage. You know, you don't get married in order to become unstable and like, oh, you know, you get married to stabilize. That's why it's typically called settling down. Yeah, I'm gonna settle down with this person. and that's why the 4 can very much be a marriage card of sticks. And if you're looking at the passion and that kind of energy in a marriage here, this card could simply be saying, okay, well, you know, maybe some people, marriages get into a rut. They get a little too solid and secure and settled. And, you know, it might be time to choose a new restaurant for Saturday night family dinner, or it might be time to like go and see some different kind of movie than we usually do, or take a trip somewhere. That's why it's reversed. It's just saying, okay, open up your mind in this stable situation and maybe allow something new to sort of enter, new ideas. And here we have the 3 of Cups reversed. Again, that's the heart. That is the realm of feeling. And the 3 of Cups, 3 is always kind of a big active card. You know, it's moving forward to do something. I kind of think of it as sort of related to the Knights. You know, it wants to kind of get going and achieve things. And if it's reversed here, this fits in very much with the reversed 4. Like there might be a little bit too much safety here going on that we need to think about. And maybe not being able to express some feelings over here is a problem. Not expressing them, bottling them up instead of taking action on them. And taking action on them can simply mean the ability to acknowledge them. And what it's saying is, let's kind of leave this behind. That's why it's on the left. Let's let this sort of drift off and not worry so much about expressing ourselves. And let's look at where we need to go. And what we get is a reversed Ace of Swords. So the Ace of Swords upright will be like this. And that means that there are some ideas going on. There are some practical notions that might be slowing this process down. And we need to think about that, because what the cards do here is they say, okay, these elements are all here in sufficient quantity. That's why we're talking about them at all in the reading. There are simply things that we've been sort of stuck doing lately that have gotten us too used to something, and we need to kind of start breaking out of that. So this safety here, it could be a marriage, it could simply be in yourself, it could be at work. This safety, we need to look at how in the past we may have kind of not given our true feelings and what we truly love enough attention. And that is now limiting our ideas and practical things that we can do. So in other words, by opening ourselves up to a little less security, we then can flip everything around to be balanced again, and we can follow what it is that really gets us going and really excites us. And we can be very creative about those things and a little less protected of ourselves. And that will start bringing big new ideas and new avenues open up to us here, because the ace represents unlimited potential. And you don't know which direction it's going to lead you in. There's all kinds of opportunities here if you can follow what it is you really want without protecting yourself quite so much. It's like opening up a little bit and taking those risks. That's what this reading is saying. Scorpio. That's the thing you have to remember about upside down cards. They aren't exact opposites of a card's upright meaning. They are hints about blockages and avoidances, and they're there basically saying, do this little thing and get the gears working together again, and you can turn the card over. That's kind of how they work.